Hey guys, welcome. My name's Austin with GGOFFROAD. Today I'm going to show you how to install our camera relocation kit on your 3rd gen Tundra. Going over the contents of the camera relocation kit, you get two 26-foot braided cables. These are rated for 85C and they're waterproof. You get grommets to close out any the two camera holes and the wire pass-through location, as well as some adhesive for waterproofness. And then you get a mount, which allows you to mount the cameras at the back of your topper, looking back through the window. Okay, so I want to go over the tools you need to install this camera relocation kit. There's not that many tools. Most of them are pretty common, and you should have most of them. The exception being you need a short, stubby socket wrench. We're going to be working in between the headliner and the top of the truck to get that tail light out, and so the short, stubby is highly recommended. I also have a swivel adapter and then a deep 10mm. Additionally, you need a number 2 Phillips, a pair of side cutters, a needle nose pliers, plastic trim tools to get the coat hangers off and not damage your trim, a Torx T6 bit. It's usually found in a lot of these precision screwdriver cases. This one's from Harbor Freight. And then just some tape and a marker so that we can mark each cable. Once we run it through the truck, we'll know which one's which. So let's get on to the install. The first step is we need to drop this headliner down just a little bit. In order to do that, we're going to remove both of these rear coat hangers. So what I found works really well is a small pick like this. There's 2 little slots in the left or the right. If you just gently insert behind and then gently tug down, this comes out like that. So that's piece 1. And then now you'll see that there's these 2 metal tabs here. What you're gonna do is grab those and pinch them, and then the whole thing just comes out. So let's repeat that for the other side. So we're gonna try and pull these C-pillars just back a little bit. We don't need to pull them all the way off, all the way to the bottom. We're gonna pull them off to about this line here. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is just lean forward your seat. And then these are just held on with clips, so you can either use like a right angle panel tool to help you, but just gentle pulling, gentle tugs all the way around. And we're off. Same deal on the other side. We're gonna lower this. The clips we're talking about are just these 2 clips here. And then you'll notice this, it's hard to see, this clip that goes behind your weather stripping. Okay, now from the back of the truck with the window rolled down, this makes it a lot easier to pull the headliner. What I like to do is just get my finger under the headliner from back in the corner. And this headliner is held on with Velcro actually, so we're just gonna gently, you don't want to crease the headliner either, so just very gently work down. You see it popped like that. These clips right here popped out. That Velcro just came out too. Okay, so to remove this 3rd brake light, there's 3 bolts. There's one here, here, and on this side. So now that all 3 bolts are removed, we can gently take out this 3rd brake light. So you just pull out, straight out. You'll notice that we have the light wires on the left, and then this is our camera wires here in the middle. So the first thing we're going to do is actually take this grommet and just gently pull that grommet out like that, and then we are going to just let this dangle until we can unplug the lights from the inside. Okay, so this is the connection to the light for the brake lights and the illumination light. We're just going to disconnect this clip on the right side. These 2 gray connectors are your 2 camera cables. This one with the pink wrapping is your digital rear view. The one with the brown wrapping is the bed camera. So we're going to be pulling off the right side of these 2. Okay, now we have the third brake light out. We have the 2 cameras. We have the original harness, which we need to reuse. And when you're getting this out of the top of the truck, you're going to just want to press down on these little clips and then pull backwards. So just make sure you're pressing down all the way and they should come right out. So the next step is to remove our cameras out of this third brake light. These are just number 2 Phillips. You're going to take out this one, and this one. So again, that's these 2 for this camera, these 2 for this camera. Leave these ones on the sides. You're going to leave those be. Okay, so that's the rear view camera out. The rear view camera is the longer lens camera, and it has this brown wrapping. You want to make sure when you're doing this, put this on something soft so you don't scratch it, and then also this plastic is extremely brittle, so just be very gentle with the plastic around this. Okay, and then there's the bed view camera out. So now we have both of our cameras, the original harness. Our new harnesses are gonna go in the original location, and we're gonna run them back to here. Okay, so now we're gonna use the grommets that are included with the kit. These are press fit, so they don't actually need adhesive back here, since this area on the light actually isn't perfectly waterproof. You can see that Toyota just uses a foam gasket. So a little bit of water dripping in is okay. If you want, you can glue it in. Personally, I don't think any water gets around the press fits. So the most important thing when doing this is to know that this is brittle plastic. So we're not going to press very hard, and we're going to be very careful to support the plastic while we're pressing these in. There's a small grommet and a large grommet. The large one fits the large hole, small one for the small one. Okay, so you just line it up, gently line it up. Support the back. And then they're pressed in place like that. We are going to just put a dab of hot glue on the back just to give it some mechanical insurance that it doesn't come out in the future, because we don't want to have to take this light back out. And now we're going to do the second camera. Done. So now the camera hole locations are covered, and we can move on. So I'm going to add just a little dab of hot glue on each, just to give it some more insurance that it's not going to rattle loose. Okay, so now we're going to use the adhesive and the waterproof grommet to close out the area where we removed the cables. So this is where the cables were passing through. We don't want any water ingress into the cab, so make sure that that's sealed. I am going to use B7000, which is a removable semi-permanent glue. So if this needs to come out in the future, you want to revert, all you need to do is just pull this plug out, and it shouldn't damage the paint. Put a very, very small amount around. We don't need too much. And just like that, that's a waterproof seal now. So we're gonna now put our 2 longer 26-foot cables in the original locations. It's gonna be the gray connectors. We're gonna connect just to where the old cameras were connected. I marked mine. I marked one of them with digital rear view, so I know which camera to plug in which once they're at the back of the truck. This is where we're gonna plug them in. The cable that I'm pointing to now, the one closest to the front of the truck, is the digital rear view. And then the one with the pink going into it, that is your bed camera. So your cable that you labeled digital rear view, that one's gonna go towards the back. Clip them in. Okay, now we're ready to test. We're gonna plug these in temporarily to test, make sure that we have the cameras in the correct location, and then that our connectors are fully seated up in the headliner. So click it in. So to test them out, you can see that we are getting video for the digital rear view. It's coming through. It's not aimed at anything yet properly. To test the bed camera, we're gonna shift into neutral. And then this is the bed camera looking right now just out the back of the bed. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the bed camera that we're relocating. So they're both working. Now we can move on to the next step of the install. Now moving on to routing these cables down the C-pillar. So the first step is we need to get up and over this clips and down into the C-pillar. So just make sure you clear this clip right there, and then we'll grab it from the inside. So now we just need to reinstall the brake light, which is just the reverse of what we did to take it out. We're gonna fish the electrical wire through that. We'll clip it in once we're done screwing it in. So just like that. And then we're gonna take one bolt at a time. We're not gonna snug them up full. Just pretty much hand tight, and then one at a time snug them up. Okay, so before I tighten those down, I wanna show you the steps you should be at. We should have that waterproof grommet in behind this. Your 2 cameras are now blocked. This electrical cable, we're gonna plug that right back into that white one. And our new cables are plugged in where the old existing cables were. Now I'm just gonna tighten, torque those 3 10mm bolts down. You wanna make sure you align these white clips, otherwise you'll kind of mess them up while you try to press them back in. You can see where the holes that they're supposed to go in go. And then we're just gonna, on each clip, press up till you hear a click. We're also gonna press in this area. This is where that Velcro is, so you wanna get that. You can kind of hear the Velcro crunching. Get that Velcro restuck. And then get this weather stripping back. Make sure you're tucked in nicely. Okay, and now let's button up the C-pillars and we can move on to routing the cables. So now we have the cables coming into the C-pillar. What we want to do is take off this trim and then this trim, and then we're going to go to a grommet that's underneath this seat right here. So we need to get these cables into this compartment. Okay, so we're going to take off a little bit of this trim to get access to this grommet underneath. So for these, you push directly down, and then you can lift them up gently and they come up just like that. So we're going to do that around, down till you hear the click, and then they should just come right out. There's a grommet underneath here that we need to get to. That's on both the hybrids and the non-hybrids. First, we're going to take off this little panel here. You can just gently pry that up. Comes off with these red clips. So that gives us access to this cable channel where most of these cables are routed already. That's where we're going to try and get into this compartment. Okay, to loosen up the bottom of the C-pillar trim, these little clips go in the weather stripping, behind the weather stripping, so you want to make sure you push backwards a little bit. I start from the bottom and then just kind of pull down and out, and we're just loosening this just enough to get the cables down here. So this is about as much as we need. And then we're going to fish these cables, we're going to fish them behind these clips. We're just going to gently wiggle this piece out. Just like that. Just giving us access to the grommet that we need to go through. This is where the rest of the wire bundle goes. What we're going to do is we're going to poke our cables right through this area. It'll keep it nice and waterproof. Okay, so we're going to fish these cables in between these weather stripping clips and the main clips. I'm actually going to go past the white clips as well, along right where all the other wires are run. We're going to do that all the way down. Get under this clip here. Okay, so now we have access to get these cables to this grommet. So we're almost there. Now, okay, to put these C-pillars back, we just want to make sure that you align these white clips where they go before you start pressing. Should be pretty gentle. All right, so what I did is I cut a small slit just big enough for the connector face, and then I pushed some needle nose through. What we're going to do is pull each one gently down by this housing. Try not to grab the housing too roughly and crack it, so just be gentle. We're going to pass these up on top of the frame, and that's what we're going to follow to get to the back of the truck. Okay, so now what we want to do is take our two harnesses and we're going to follow the existing harness looms. So I like to just, this is on top of the frame rail. I'm just going to zip tie them to the existing loom all the way back. We're going to go there. We're going to go behind this mount. Right back in through here. Get onto this side. We're gonna come out through the AC port here at the very top. In order to do that, you need a T30. I have one on a wrench. So we're just gonna loosen these. And then once this topper gets here, we're going to put an actual grommet here. For now, we're just going to leave them just poking straight through. So we don't know exactly which direction we want them yet. Got it. All right, final step in the interior is just putting the coat hanger clips back in. I like to take this metal clip completely out. It just makes it easier. So first, coat hanger, then you're gonna squeeze these two little sides and you'll just push it until it clips. That's in. Now you just need the plastic cover. And just be gentle with this. Okay, the final step is we're gonna take these two cameras off of these brackets that were in the original taillight. To do that, you need to get these 4 T6 fasteners out. T6 is pretty small. I had to get a little precision screwdriver kit from Harbor Freight for 10 bucks, but you just want to make sure you don't lose these screws because they're very small. 1, 2. Okay, and then you have to take the connector off the camera in order to get it through. So you press this tab. Just gently press that tab. The connector pulls off like that. So this is the bracket. We don't need this anymore. You can keep it in case you want to put your cameras back in your taillight. But that's one. Now let's do the digital rear view. Again, the digital rear view is the one that has a longer lens. So now we're going to put them in this pivot arm mount. The digital rear view goes on the bottom, and then this is going to mount either to the back of your topper or the roof of the topper, and then this looks down through the back window. So first, in order to do that, we're just going to use these screws that came with it, put those in. This is what your finished mount install is going to look like. You got your bed camera facing back in towards the truck, and then the digital rear view facing out. So the way this is going to mount is to the back of your topper like this, and then this will look through the glass. An important thing to note is to try and keep these inside the topper. If you're going to put them outside in the elements, you're going to want to do some heat shrink and some sort of sealant around them just to make these waterproof. These connections are IP68 waterproof resistant, so they can get a little wet, but I wouldn't recommend them outside full time.